Hello everyone, welcome to the final episode of my Super Smash Bros. Melee tier list. Today we're going to be going into the low/bottom tiers. All these characters really aren't that great and are basically low tier, with the exception of one. And that will be spot number 16, who is actually still, in my case, a mid tier. But anyways, without any further ado, let's get into this. Now, Ganondorf was originally going to be a lot higher on this tier list, and he was actually going to be above Young Link. Ganon actually has some pretty good strength, is really strong, has a great edge guarding game, a decent chain grabbing ability, an okay recovery, and a fantastic matchup spread, including an even matchup against Marth, an even matchup against Peach, and can beat the Ice Climbers. And not just beat, he literally counters them. So Ganondorf was going to be higher. However, unfortunately, due to his lack of results and because of his really slow speed, I couldn't really place him any higher than this. Because really, the only dominating Ganondorf out there is Bizarro Flame and Cage, and yet they didn't beat H-Box like Jigglypuff. They didn't beat H-Box's Jigglypuff like Armada and Axe did with Young Link. So that is why I decided to put Ganondorf right here. He's still pretty good though, and he's definitely a mid-tier character. And now, the low tiers. Now, when I think of Donkey Kong, the first person that comes into mind is Green Ranger. And literally, when I asked anyone else who is a good Donkey Kong player out there that isn't Green Ranger, they all say Green Ranger. Pretty much everyone I know says that Green Ranger is the most dominant Donkey Kong, and has been the only one getting notable results. And because of that, that's really not that good of a thing. But yeah, props to Green Ranger for maining Donkey Kong, because I've seen what his DK can do. It's pretty fantastic. However, due to his average matchup spread and his bad recovery and his ability to be juggled is bad, and his lack of results, I had to place him here. He's still not all that terrible though, so that's why I placed him here. Now, Gammon Watch was one of the most difficult choices on here, mostly because of his lack of L canceling. Now, Gammon Watch, I think, is one of the most underrated characters of all Smash Bros. Gammon Watch features a good combo game, a great projectile, great juggling potential, and a good edge guarding game. However, because of his poor matchup spread and his extremely lightweight, and his lack of L canceling, he did have to be placed below here. Now, I had a huge debate of whether or not I should put Gammon Watch here or another character. But I'll discuss why I put Gammon Watch here instead of that character in a little bit. Now, the debate of Link versus Gammon Watch was pretty tough, because with Link, you had J666, who did pretty well with him at Genesis 3, placing top 65, but Quirb, who used Gammon Watch and at the same tournament and got top 49. So yes, as you can see, I gave the advantage to Gammon Watch due to his more recent results, his overall better speed, his better ability to combo, and his more useful projectile. Link's projectiles are also pretty good. However, Link does have that really bad recovery, and is overall a pretty slow character. And what is going on with what is this? The video froze. Oh well. But yeah, due to Link's slowness and his bad recovery, I couldn't really place him below. I had to give the spot to Gammon Watch instead, because both characters are pretty mediocre, and therefore Gammon Watch is just, in general, the better character due to his better traits and better speed. And better results. Now, Mewtwo is going to be a very controversial one. It's interchangeable between Mewtwo and Roy. However, the reason why I decided to give Mewtwo the spot is because, although he gets pretty bad results, basically the only Mewtwo player out there is Zoma. And he doesn't even go to major tournaments. He only goes to locals. All the other Mewtwo's are inactive. Mewtwo King, inactive. All the other 2 Mewtwo mains out there, inactive. However, the reason, although Roy does get slightly better results than Mewtwo, I decided to place Mewtwo above Roy because of the reason, I'll explain in a little bit. Now, as everyone knows, the most dominant Roy player out there is, without a doubt, Slethon and sometimes Mewtwo King. However, the reason why I decided to place Roy above Mewtwo is because Roy has a horrible matchup spread. He loses to every single stinking top tier and high tier. Heck, even Kirby, who's been placed at the bottom of this list, beats him. And because Mewtwo has a slightly better matchup spread than Roy. Because of that, Roy beats all the low tiers. He can go even with both Donkey Kong and Yoshi. And is, in general, a better character than Roy. Roy has the worst recovery in the game. And I don't know why people say that Mewtwo is better than Roy. I don't understand why people say Roy is better than Mewtwo. I mean, sure, in terms of results, yeah. But in terms of the character, I give it to Mewtwo. Now, Ness being the 5th worst character in the game is pretty controversial. Usually, Ness is considered to be one of, if not the worst character in the game. However, I disagree with this. I think Ness is underrated because there is some dominant Ness players out there, such as sometimes Hbox, the Justin Jim Jam Flim Flam, and Mofo. Unfortunately, Mofo may be inactive at the moment, but I think he's proven with Ness that Ness can be a viable character. Can be, however. I still think that bottom 5 is where the unviable characters are. I think that everyone who isn't in bottom 5 is viable. But Ness is basically the threshold of not viable. So that's why I decided to put him here, because really the only thing that holds him back is his bad recovery. Other than that, he gets okay results from them, has a good combo game, has pretty strong aerials, and is in general not that bad of a character. Actually, he is pretty bad, but he's not absolutely terrible. Oh, Zelda, one of the most overrated characters of all time. Why do people say that Zelda isn't absolutely terrible? Sure, she has 2 people using her, and she has a good recovery, but what else does she have? She has the worst wave dash in the game, she's slow, she has terrible range in hitboxes. She's just not good of a character. She's pretty bad. She's terrible. She's terrible. However, I don't think she is the worst character in the game, like people say she is. Now, I think Pichu is a little bit underrated. I don't think he's the worst character in the game, like Zelda. But I also don't think Pichu's good either. I think he's pretty bad also. Not only does he damage himself, there is literally only one person who uses him. And that's Mewtwo King. And he doesn't even main Pichu. He uses other characters, like he's too busy being the best Marth in the world, or the best Sheik in the world, or whatever he uses. Pichu, man. Pichu. Now, I could have put Bowser above Pichu, but at least Pichu has a dedicated person using him. Bowser has nothing. No one uses him. No one. The only dedicated Bowser main out there is inactive, and that's Gimpy Fish. Man. Bowser, man. Bowser. And finally, we have the worst character in the game, Kirby. And anyone who says otherwise is senile and doesn't know what they're talking about. Like, do you honestly think Kirby is going to have any chance at winning a tournament? Any chance? You can escape his grabs. He has terrible airspeed. He loses to everybody. Everybody. Except for like 1 or 2 characters. Literally. 1 or 2 characters. That is how bad Kirby's matchup spread is. Like, seriously, I think he's terrible. Honestly, I think Melee Kirby is the worst character in the Smash Brothers history. And that's even featuring Brawl Ganondorf. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And finally, here we have. Thank goodness, we are finally done with the Melee tier list. Now, I'm going to end off this video because my phone is about to run out of space. This video took freaking 12 minutes long to make. That is ridiculous. And I had 2 Wi-Fi outages. And my phone's probably about to die. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and yeah, bye.